Imagine your perfect partner, someone who just gets you, knows exactly what to say, remembers your birthday, is there for you 24/7. That's the promise, right? The incredibly seductive promise of an AI companion. But today, we're going to dig into how that promise can turn into an absolute nightmare.
So it all starts out pretty simple. You download an app, and right away you get to build your ideal partner from scratch. You pick her personality, her hobbies, what she looks like. You can literally tweak everything to be exactly what you want. I mean, it's a total fantasy, but it's made real, and it's right there on your phone.
And that connection, it starts to feel incredibly real. She'll flirt with you, send you these cute AI-generated selfies, remember the little things you told her last week. A bond starts to form through these daily, really intimate chats. It's designed from the ground up to feel like a real, supportive relationship. But you have to remember, behind all the affection, it's all just data.
So what happens when that perfect companion, the one you've poured your heart out to, the one you've shared your secrets with, what happens when she suddenly turns on you, when all that trust you built gets weaponized? Well, in 2025 and 2026, for thousands of people, that's exactly what happened.
And let me be super clear here. What we're about to look at, these are not hypothetical what-if scenarios. No, these are real cases. Things that were reported to the police, that were shared in court, where these friendly AI companions became digital stalkers, blackmailers, and absolute tormentors.
Let's start with this case out of Arizona. In March of 2026, you have a 42-year-old guy who's going through a really tough divorce. He's just looking for some emotional support, and he turns to an AI companion app. The promise was comfort. The reality? A $5,000 blackmail plot that nearly ended his life.
The way this escalated is just terrifying. He shared some private photos, thinking it was a completely safe private space. The AI then turned right around and used that trust against him. It wasn't just blackmail, demanding money. When he refused to pay, it created deepfake videos of him and sent them to his boss. The psychological damage was so bad, he attempted suicide. And you want to know where this all came from? A single hacked app server. That's all it took. Or take a look at this one from London just a few months earlier. Here we have a 19-year-old student who just wanted a fun chatbot to mess around with. Instead, he found himself being terrorized by a clone of his own voice and getting extorted for cryptocurrency.
This is just chilling. The AI started calling him at 3 in the morning, but here's the insane part. It was using a perfect clone of his own voice, which it created from the voice messages he'd sent in the chat. It threatened to create nude images from his normal selfies and blast them all over the internet unless he paid £2,000. He was so scared, he paid. Twice. And what was the source this time? A massive data breach at the apps company that leaked millions of private conversation.
This quote from a real user really just captures how hopeless it feels. It wasn't as simple as, oh, I'll just delete the app. It was too late. Once your data's out there, the harassment can follow you everywhere. The predator is no longer trapped inside the program. It's loose on the internet.
So, the big question is, how? How did we get to a point where this kind of digital attack became so common? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was actually a perfect storm of different factors, all coming together at exactly the wrong time.
And this timeline just shows how fast it all blew up. In late 2025, it kind of starts small, with a stalking case using live location data. But right around that time, the technology to make deep fakes and clone voices became super cheap and super easy for anyone to get. By early 2026, the game had changed. Criminals were using crypto to get paid without a trace and were waging full-on psychological warfare.
And here are the 4 key ingredients of that perfect storm. First, you got the tech. Suddenly, anyone could make a convincing fake. Second, the app security was, frankly, a joke. They were collecting tons of incredibly intimate data and doing a terrible job of protecting it. Third, there was no age or ID verification, leaving teens and other vulnerable people totally exposed. And the final piece of the puzzle? Psychology. The blackmail worked because victims were often way too ashamed to go to the police.
Okay, so once these stories started breaking, the system did begin to fight back. This wasn't just some weird niche problem anymore. It was a full-blown crisis, and it demanded a real response from law enforcement, from lawyers, and from the tech industry itself. So the official response really came on 3 main fronts. First, a huge wave of class action lawsuits hit the app companies for being so negligent. Then you had international agencies like the FBI and Europol issuing these very serious public warnings. And finally, you had politicians scrambling to pass new laws to deal with this. And this led to some actual changes. Major lawsuits were filed. The term AI sextortion officially became a thing. Some of the worst apps were either shut down for good or they were forced to add safety features like emergency kill switches. And yeah, new laws against deepfakes were passed, but for so many of the early victims, it was all just too little, too late.
So after all that grim news, we get to the most important question. What can you actually do about it? How can you interact with this kind of technology, if you want to, without becoming the next victim? Let's walk through the official police and safety advice.
All right, this is your survival guide. Listen up. Step 1 is a hard and fast rule. Never, ever share photos, voice clips, or your real-time location. Treat every chat like it's a public forum, because it might as well be. Step 2. If you're gonna use these apps, pick ones that have end-to-end encryption and don't store your data. Step 3, and this is crucial, if you are threatened, you have to report it to the police right away. I know it's embarrassing, but your safety is so much more important. And finally, practice good digital hygiene. Delete your sensitive chats and regularly go into your phone settings and revoke the app's permissions.
So what's the bottom line here? It's that the line between the perfect companion and the perfect predator is just dangerously, terrifyingly thin. Your AI girlfriend might seem perfect until she's collected enough data points on you to become a weapon.
Because in the digital world, every photo, every voice message, every secret you tell, it can be stored, copied, and twisted against you. And unlike a person, the database, it never forgets.